All right, Jay Martinez with Fight Hope TV here with Vergil Ortiz Sr. Vergil, back in training camp. Everybody's excited to see Vergil once again. You see it on the social media. Obviously, you being the father. How barely starting training camp. How's this training camp so far? I know it's been a couple of days now, but what are you looking forward to in this training camp?
This training camp's going pretty good. It's like always. We always have a good training camp when we start, finish, but it's going pretty good.
Now, along with the training camp, obviously, this is going to be the second time continuously with Manny Robles, the acquisition you have for the team.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're the lead trainer. What type of dynamics does Manny Robles, bring to the team as he helps you out with Vergil Jr.?
Well, I think just what Manny brings and any other coach that's like in Manny's position or level, it's just experience. I mean, boxing is boxing, and boxing is really simple. But at the same time, it's not. But it's simple if you just pretty much don't do shortcuts. Don't cut it short. Do what you're supposed to do. But Manny is more experienced. There might be something he sees that we don't see, or just maybe a different approach or something. But it's pretty much just comes down to experience. It's always good to have experience, regardless how much experience you have. Someone else has more experience than you, or just the same amount of experience, or any kind of experience is good for you.
Before this, while there was a press conference from McKinson, one thing that you kept on saying was, I never stop learning. You never stop learning. I never stop learning. So, being here watching Manny Robles, in the corner, even doing the mitts with your son, you're like, oh, I like this, I like that. Certain things that Manny Robles also adds to your criteria, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, it's experience. It's just a different approach. Manny's approach is just a little bit more different. It's still similar on some parts of Vergil's game, and it's also another person that my son can lean on. And what I mean by that means I'm his dad and I'm his coach. I'm his main coach. I've always have been, and I'll always will be. But sometimes it's good to have another voice there who's not his dad, who maybe can give him another, maybe he might even give him the same instructions in just a different way. Or, people don't realize, sometimes your kids can get tired of you telling them what to do because they're grown. So one thing I've always known and I've always learned is that you got to give them some sort of space. I value my son's relationship. I value how he feels about me, what he thinks about me, if he wants me around him or not. Luckily for me, we've always been very, very good. And I think and I've always have done the best what I can to be able for there not to be any kind of, friction or infirmity. And if that means me adding somebody else, then I'll do it. Because I know I'm pretty tough on him, and that's why sometimes I got to know when to step back and I let somebody else take over. It's always game planned. That's how I do it. I can do it. We can do it by ourselves, but like I said, I value my son's relationship, and I also value his career and his health, and so that's why I'm not afraid to ask for help or have more help, or the more the better. Believe it or not, sometimes you can have too many people, and sometimes you just can't have enough. It just depends on where you're at. And I don't mean you have to have like a 20 crew of people or an entourage or whatever, but sometimes when you train, you have people around you. It makes you feel like there's vibes, there's energy, stuff like that. And when you're by yourself, it's kind of dead. It's just not the same. So it's just different.
Now, I know negotiations are still taking place for the fight that should take place somewhere in August. How do you prepare for training camp, although the opponent is not 100% sure which one that will accept the fight? How do you counter that as a trainer first?
Well, we're just training. We're just training how we're training. We'll make the adjustments when it comes. We don't know who it is. I know we've been waiting for Avanesyan to sign the contract. He's had the contract for almost 3 weeks already, I believe. When Vergil was going to be fighting McKinson, his manager or whoever that guy is, Warren or whoever, he was saying Vergil was ducking him, that we were scared to fight him. First of all, I never knew even who Avanesyan was. I didn't, because they're from the other side over there. It's just natural for you to pay attention more to the guys over here and this and that. So I didn't know who he was. So I was surprised that they were putting stuff out like that, and that that we're ducking him. And then I responded back one time saying that, you know, I don't even know who you are. I don't even know what you're talking about. You know, because they're saying they sent us a contract, which was a lie. So when my son got sick and that fight fell through, you know, my son's fight, he's being rescheduled for a fight. I told him, run him to the guy that they made it mandatory knowing we already had a fight. So that's why the mandatory couldn't happen, because Vergil was already in the fight, which you can't have that. So we gave them the fight, and here we are 3 weeks still waiting for them to sign it. So we just, I mean, you can't do nothing but train. That's it. That's all you can do. So that's all we're gonna do is just train.
Your son, now let's just you know, let's go backwards just a little bit slightly. In the past 2 years, his opponents have been, quote unquote, as what many say, a tough test, and he has passed them, right? Mm-hmm. Now we're at the stage where Oscar De La Hoya even says, I'm going to start shoving the throat to everybody that Vergil Ortiz needs to have get the bigger fights. Everybody wants that from him. Everybody wants to see that. By when do you think that opportunity will come where nobody will be able to put him under the radar anymore, per se?
I think the only way, look, so boxing is very political. You know, I don't get into it really because I know, you know, you can yell and scream and you want this, you want that. It's not gonna happen unless it's supposed to happen. That's just the way it is. It's like your kids can jump and scream and cry on the floor all they want because they want this toy. If you don't want to give it to them, you ain't gonna give it to them. That shit don't matter. Yeah. Well, it's the same thing. So, you know, all this whole, you know, calling out this and that when people know it's not gonna happen, it's just, you know, why? It just don't make no sense. For us, I think the only way it happens is when there's legitimately no reason or no excuse or no way that they can't give it to us. That means he has to, when there's nobody else to beat, you have to. When there's nobody else to beat, you have to. So that's pretty much what we have to do. We just have to pretty much beat whoever's left, and then there's only about one thing left, and that's what you do. I mean, we never know who we're gonna fight. We just fight who we fight. And that's it. It's kind of weird because even sometimes the opponent knows that he's fighting us, and we don't even know it. You know, it happens because they have to, you know, the date has to be set, right? And they have to make sure they have somebody to give them enough time to train. If not, they're going to use this excuse or this and that or whatever. So the other guy usually knows he's fighting Vergil before we know. I'll give you an example. Hooker. We didn't even know we were fighting Hooker. We were trying to get sparring from Hooker. They knew a month before we did. And we were asking them for sparring, and they told us kind of like, you know, no, that his back was hurt, which was the fact he was actually training already for Vergil, and we had no idea. So we don't ever know. There's nothing we can do, so the only thing we worry about is just training. We're worried about this guy or that guy or what. We just don't.
The few, I guess, close-minded people that don't know exactly how training camp goes, yesterday just seeing Vergil here and, you know, being right here by your side, briefly, he sparred, he did mitts, he did bag, he did mitts, he did bag, and then he did strength and conditioning. Mm-hmm. That routine that he has, that he's built, I think we got here at the gym around 11:30. We didn't leave until like 3:30. Mm-hmm. People don't see those sacrifices. Those sacrifices that your son does shows in the ring. How was that built? How did that start? Because I know there's videos you posted when he was like, I think 12, 11. He was the youngest kid that he was still going down.
That starts when you're a kid. You make it like boxing, you make boxing like breathing. You don't even have to think about breathing. You just do it naturally. You make them work hard, they're always going to work hard. If you let them get away with stuff and half-ass stuff, they're always going to want to half-ass it because it's a shortcut. If they know that they have to finish this and that, the full, they're going to finish it no matter what. You can't cut corners in boxing. Boxing is a very jealous sport, and if you don't treat it right, she's gonna give it to you. Yeah. So you just gotta train. I don't ever see how somebody cannot train hard in boxing when it's your life. You know, if it's your last thing, if it's your only thing to fall on, if it's the one thing you're counting on, I don't understand how people don't train hard for it. You know, I've seen it before where people just, you know, they're happy to be where they're at. and that's good for them, but not for my son, you know.
And I quote what you said, and you know, one of the previous interviews, you said, once we get comfortable, that's not good.
Yeah, you get comfortable, it's over. Because then you don't start seeing things. You get comfortable, that means you don't really care, you slack off, this and that. That don't mean that you have to completely be like dead every second of your life for it. You still got to live it, but at the same time, you just got to do things right. And that's pretty much it.
Vergil, as many other people, we're excited to see Vergil go back in the ring. Hopefully it happens here in the next few months. To other people that are seeing this, just quickly, any shout outs you want to give, obviously, as well as sponsors, the people that are watching this, people back at home, people here in California that support your son.
Just a shout out to everybody who enjoys watches my son. Golden Boy's real good to my son. You guys, for coming here. Manny Robles, you know, all the coaches that has helped us, the city of Dallas, but especially, I mean, you know, Texas, everybody, but especially the LA and California. These guys here, they're diehard fans, like diehard fans. And to my mom, because my mom's the one that ships out all the shirts when you guys order the shirts. She's real good on that stuff, man. She's very good on that stuff.
Vergil Ortiz Sr., thank you so much for speaking with us, and always a delight being here and being part of you. I continue to learn little things. That's why I'm always staring at you. You're like, what are you looking at? I'm like, I'm just learning. I'm trying to learn.
You're messing with me.
No, I know, but thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you very much.
so
You guys
brother.
have a good one.